Hello and welcome to the All Rookie Podcast. Today is June 5th, 2024, and I'm your host, William Harris, aka William is Bill. Glad to be back with you guys. And today we have a special episode because I am going through my full first round mock draft episode special, picks 1 through 30, a little bit of what I think is going to happen and best talent and fitting players into positions that they will succeed in for the draft. So it's a mixture. Some people say, is this what you think will happen? Is this what you think will happen? It's a little bit of a mix, because the mock draft process is a puzzle. You could do it 20 different times and have 20 different results. But this is what I have for right now for my 1.0. We are around 22 days away from the draft. It's really exciting, especially it's the first year that the first round and second round will be on different days. So I cannot wait to get started. And the more information we're hearing, it's just all getting tantalizing and all that good stuff. If you're not mixed into the WNBA drama. But for now, let's stick to the NBA. And I did my mock draft right after the lottery results. That was my instant mock draft 1 through 14. So this is the full 1 through 30. A couple of things have changed. But again, this is not my rankings. This is fitting the puzzle pieces in. So let's get straight to it like it's nothing to it. With the first pick in the draft, I feel the Atlanta Hawks will and should select Alex Sarr, the 7'1" big man from France. Averaged 10 points, 4.5 boards, 1 assist, 1.5 blocks. Athletic, big man that can run the floor very well. He's a little bit on the skinnier side. He has bulked up since the season has ended, around 15, 20 pounds extra to that frame. He can put the ball on the floor, create a shot, moves well for his size, good rebounder, which he needs to do more. He should have showed more on tape, but he will be a good rebounder. There's no doubt about it in the American system. And I feel if the Hawks select Alex Sarr, Clint Capella will be out the door. Okongwu possibly will be out the door as well, but very athletic and fluid 7'1" guy. And I think he can help. There's been talk today that teams are trying to trade up with the Hawks. Could be the Spurs, could be the Grizzlies, and they'll be offering packages to them. And I mean, it would not hurt the Hawks to look into those packages because if they were to get Sarr, it doesn't really change their team that much. It will help them go with a younger movement, but it's not going to put them over the top in any aspect unless they get something quality for Clint Capella or a Okongwu. But I feel Alex Sarr, in my eyes, he's the second best prospect in this draft class. He would be the number 1 fit for the Hawks. Next, the Wizards are on the clock. And I'm going to show you my 1 through 10. If you're on YouTube, please watch us on YouTube as well. Thank you for listening on the podcast, the All Rookie Podcast. Number 2, I have the Wizards taking Isaiah Collier. He's my number 1 prospect in this draft class. There's been a lot of debate about him, but in my opinion, it's a clear cut. He's the number 1 prospect in this draft class. Like, I literally have been getting a lot of like vitriol, like, no, he's not. Da, da, da. He can't do this. He can't do that. But I think a lot of people are listening to what the consensus is saying. Look with your own eyes at the tape. Look at the possibilities of this 6'3", 6'4" point guard from USC. Shot 34% from three. People were acting like he shot 24% from three. He did not. 49% from the field. That is good for a point guard. People say he's not a good shooter. He's inefficient. He's this and that. You can put all of your analytical numbers together to try to come to whatever narrative you want, but you cannot come to a better conclusion than he is lightning fast, has the wow factor, great size. He can shoot the ball. He's really fast on the court. Normally, he's going to be one of the fastest guys on the court. Whatever court he steps on, he can bully smaller guards, whether it's height or weight. He can. I mean, he's a dynamic point guard. That's what you want. There's not many dynamic players in this draft. There's a lot of guys that are like, he's gonna be good. He has the length. He has the frame. Like Isaiah Collier is all that right now. And being 19 years old, he's only going to get better at the things that people will call his knocks, like if you want to say shooting or whatever, or getting more assists. those will come. What he has, you cannot teach. And he's great at getting steals on defense as well. Like I'm telling you, if in this day and time, if Allen Iverson was coming into this draft class, people would be killing him if you had him number one because he was allegedly inefficient, not a good shooter. Like you got to look past numbers sometimes and look at the tape. Isaiah Collier is an elite prospect, and the Wizards would be lucky to have him. Even though the consensus of what you may be hearing is not this. This is what you hear from the All Rookie podcast. I don't follow consensus. I go with what my eyes say. Isaiah Collier to the Wizards. Number 3, the Rockets. There's been a lot of debate about the Rockets trading this draft pick to the Grizzlies and the Spurs as well. But if they keep this pick, which is all I can base this off of, if they do, I think the Rockets should select Ron Holland. He has a lot of upside for them. They could go with Cody Williams as well. I just feel like Ron Holland is the guy they will go with. Averaged almost 20 points per game, 7 boards, 2 steals, and a block at the G League Ignite. Super athlete, great handle, and he's clearly a pro already when you're watching this tape, and he's only 18 years old. So he has that ceiling to be a star. His ceiling to be a star is easier to see than some of the other guys. He just needs to get his shot down. But everything else is great. He can finish at the rim with either hand, attacks the rim at all times, tremendous in transition, can lead the break. He's an elite shot blocker for his size, great contender. He can play good defense. You can't ask for much more in a prospect than Ron Holland. And 6'7", 205 pounds. He will fit right in that 3 spot with the Rockets, which is kind of interchangeable. They have Dylan Brooks. He's not the future of this team. They have Tari Eason, who can play the 3 or 4. But if you're looking for a guy at the 3rd pick in the draft that can come in and take that spot, you also have Cam Whitmore. But and you can say he's kind of similar to Cam, but the Rockets kind of have a logjam of talent. They have 2 great point guards, 2 good shooting guards, 2 3 guards, 2 4 guards, and 2 good 5s. So when a team like that, you just got to take one of the best prospects, which you could feel would be the best upside. And I feel that would be Ron Holland for the Rockets. He is my 5th ranked prospect, but I have him going 3rd here to the Rockets. Next, the Spurs, first of their 2 top 10 picks on the clock. I have him taking the 6'10" forward Matas Buzelis, 210 pounds, average 14 and 6 with 2 blocks per game. Solid shooter, 45% from the field, but he needs to get better with his 3-point range, only 26%. But he's a good shooter. You can tell with his form. And I think the Spurs would love to see him next to Victor Wembanyama. In my opinion, he is better than Zachary Ricochet, and he's my 4th ranked prospect. So he would fit right in here at the 4th spot for the Spurs. They have the Sohan, but he's like an interchangeable player that can play multiple positions. I think Buzelis would be more of a secure forward that can play the 3 or 4 for them. And his offensive upside is much better than Sohan's. So, Matas Buzelis is very aggressive and strong in the paint, can attack bigs, and yet be finesse as well. He has a really good handle for a big man. Like he literally can dribble like a guard. Quick first step, good cutter to the rim. He has, like I said, he has one of the best handles of a big man I've ever seen, honestly. And he's a very disciplined defender, good shot blocker, with, like I said, 2 per game. In this day and age with the smaller bigs, I think he will flourish. And he will be a good selection for the Spurs at number 4. Number 5, I have the Pistons taking Zachary Ricochet. He is my 9th ranked prospect, but I think he would fit good with Detroit, especially with all the talk of him going number 1 right now. I think that would be a mistake for the Hawks. But at 5 for Detroit, that would not be a bad selection. They're needing help at that 4 position. I don't think that is secure. I think every other position is pretty much secure for the Pistons. If anything, you could say they have 2 point guards instead of a point guard and a shooting guard. But at number 5 right here, I don't see anything that would fix that. But the power forward hole is a big hole. Now with Zachary Ricochet, you would be getting a really good spot up shooter. But he actually plays smaller than he is. He plays a lot on the perimeter, but that shooting should help them, even though he only shot. No, he did shoot 43% from three. So that's what the Pistons need the most is 3-point shooting. So he can allow that. But he only scored 11 points and 3 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal. So he's not going to be like a defensive power forward. He's going to be like a 3-4 that will switch positions on offense and defense depending on the matchups. But he's going to shoot that ball for you, and he can interchange with Ausar Thompson. Hopefully, Ausar will be 100% when the season comes in. But the height of 6'9" should help him a lot, But he he needs to get stronger. Zachary avoids contact when in the paint, but I don't think he's ready to be a 4 right away. He needs to get bigger. Like I said, he's only 200 pounds. That's not going to cut it. But his offensive game is nice. He can shoot the fadeaway. It's just no real post game. He's not really even going to create his own shot yet. But you got to love his height and shooting ability. He's kind of slower for a big if he's going to play a 3 or 4. But the ceiling for him is high. He kind of reminds me of Grady Dick a little bit, but just a little bit taller. But with the Pistons, they're not in a win now situation. So if you can get a Zachary Ricochet, he's going to grow with the team. There's going to be some growing pains, but if he turns into what everyone thinks he can, it could be a good selection for the Pistons. And that's where I think they will do if he falls to 5. But in my opinion, like I said, he's got a lot of knocks on him, and he should be around 9th or 10th. But I could see the Pistons taking Zachary Ricochet. Number 6, the Hornets are on the clock. I haven't taken Tyler Smith from G League Ignite, who I think is better than Zachary Ricochet, but he wouldn't fit the Pistons as well as he does with the Hornets. The Hornets, they really don't have a power forward with PJ Washington gone. Grant Williams is a backup. Mark Williams had a lot of issues with his back. So Tyler Smith can play the 4 or the 5, average 14 and 5 with 1 block per game. He's a left-hander, super athlete, dunks everything in sight. That'll give him some size, some rim protection, some lob threats. That would be great to see him with LaMelo Ball. Very exciting prospect, great pick and roll and stretch 4 or 5. He shot 36% from 3, so he brings the shooting as well. And he's definitely not a traditional big. He's a good passer. When guys are cutting to the hoop, long arms. I just love everything about Tyler Smith's game. He is my number 6 prospect, and I have him going number 6 to Charlotte. Number 7, the Portland Trailblazers take Cody Williams, and this is a steal in my opinion. He's my 3rd ranked prospect, the 6'8" from Colorado, 12 points per game, 41% from 3, 19 years old, very long athlete. Cody Williams will fit right in with this team. They have the 1 and the 2 lockdown. I think Anthony Simons may be out of the door. So you have Scoot, Shaden, and then Cody Williams at the 3. And this team could be going places. It's going to be one of those league pass teams that you have to watch. Very exciting. 1, 2, 3. And then they have Aiden. They have Robert Williams. A lot of good talent in the big spots too. So Portland, if you're smart, and if he falls there, please draft Cody Williams for your own sake. 7'1" wingspan. You got to love that. Number 8, the Spurs are back. I haven't taken a point guard here. At number 8, Nikola Topic. Now, in my opinion, he's the 15th ranked player in this draft. But in every draft, you see teams reach for players. And in my opinion, it'd be a reach. But to the Spurs, they look beyond the box. And a lot of the consensus is Topic is a top 10 guy. So I can see them reaching for Topic. He is, at this point, one of the best point guards at getting assists. And that is what Victor Wembanyama would need the most over like a scoring first point guard. So I see them taking Nikola Topic, the 6'7" point guard, 19 years old, average 16 points and 6 assists per game. A lot of these point guards average 3 and 4 assists per game. So he's got the edge on passing, very smooth guard, nice handle, very natural point guard, unselfish player. So I think he's a good free throw shooter. So his 3-point percentage should come along. But that's just what I think they'll do. And they would have elite height at every position if they take Topic, who is 6'7", And you already know you got Victor Wembanyama at 7'3", 7'4". And they're not trying to win right now, so there's injury concern with Topic. He keeps getting hurt. He's banged up right now, not 100%, but they don't need him to be 100% first 2, 3, 4, 5 months of the season, honestly. And like I said, they have 2 picks in the top 8. It wouldn't hurt them to baby Topic until he's 100%. And if they lose, they lose. They'll have another high pick next year. So Wemby will still be happy having those 2 top 8 picks. I could see Spurs going that route. I wouldn't, but I could see it. Next, number 9 is the Grizzlies. And I have them taking Tristan da Silva, the 6'9" forward from Colorado, average 16 and 5, shot almost 40% from 3. Now, a lot of people have Memphis taking a center, but a lot of times when that happens, when everyone has a team getting a certain position, they normally blindside us all and take another position. And if you look at their lineup, they are a little bit lacking at the small forward position. And I mean, he could play the 3 or 4 at 6'9", and they're lacking with the shooting. So I think the best bet would be for the Grizzlies to draft a big shooter, and Tristan da Silva is that. He's an excellent 3-point shooter, and he handles the ball very well for his size. He's one of the best shooters in his class, and he dribbles like a guard. They have Zion Williams and a lot of other guys that can't really shoot and that are not good enough to be starters right now. So if you have da Silva with Bane, then that eliminates your lack of shooting on the court. And he's very alert on defense as well. Gets a lot of steals, breaking up passes. Could he be Keegan Murray? Maybe. At worst, he's going to be Nicholas Batum. And Tristan da Silva will be a great fit for Memphis. He's my 11th ranked player, but I have him going 9 right now to Memphis because I can see them throwing a curveball to everyone. It wouldn't be much of a curve to me, but I could see them doing it. It would actually be a really smart draft selection. And Memphis normally makes very smart draft selections. Now, number 10, Utah. I have him taking Stephon Castle. In my previous mock, I had him going, in my lottery mock, I had him going 13. But the way his stock has been rising so much, I just think he's not going to fall past 10. Even though, in my opinion, if you're grading him just as a shooting guard from what the tape showed, he's my 16th ranked player. But everyone's falling in love with what he did. He helped his team win the championship as a freshman. And I guess what he's doing in the combine and saying behind the screen that he's really a point guard, and that's bringing him up. But in my opinion, he should be around the 13 to 16 area of the draft. But not everything that I think should happen will happen. So I can see Utah taking a shot on him, and he can play the 1-2 with Utah and interchange with Keontae George. But I think Utah really needs to upgrade at shooting guard, and if Stephon Castle can strictly play shooting guard, that would be a good spot as well. I think Terrence Shannon is better than him. I would go that route, but there could be reasons why they do not. But Stephon Castle is a very natural shooting guard, in my opinion. Very fast and athletic, good crossover, smart cutter to the rim, and a finisher in traffic. Very crafty player. Plays the passing lanes well on defense. You can tell he likes playing defense as well. So it remains to be seen if he can play the point truly. But I love how he has an array of moves to manipulate the defense. He's a really good dunker. He can shoot the 3, but he needs to get better at it. Only 29%. But I can see Utah trying to go for what they may feel as the best player on the board, according to consensus, and taking Stephon Castle. Next, the Bulls are on the clock. We're at number 11. Now, for the Bulls, I have them taking Rob Dillingham, the 6'3", 6'2" point guard from Kentucky, 19 years old. And he's my 7th ranked player. So this would be the Bulls getting a bit of a steal here just because of fit and how I think teams may go. Now, Dillingham has insane handles. He kind of dribbles like Stephon Marbury. He's a great athlete. But like I say, he averaged 4 assists per game. So would the Spurs actually want that, even though in everyone's mind, he's clearly the better point guard than Topic, in my opinion. But would they want a guy with a killer crossover, score first point guard? I don't know. Now his field goal percentage is great at 47.5, and his 3-point percentage is great at 44.5% from three. That's insane elite 3-point shooting. And he's a really good free throw shooter. But I don't know if some teams will want that more the traditional teams, So we will see. But yeah, he should not fall out of the top 7 in my opinion. Well, we'll see what happens. He creates a ton of space and separation with his crossover, great shooting ability. And I think he will get even better in the NBA at everything that he needs to. His game will fit perfectly in the new NBA, and he'll be a starter in the league right away or very soon. And he could come in and take Kobe White's spot. If the Bulls don't want to pay Kobe White, they can go a different direction and take Dillingham. But the Bulls are in a tough spot. Nothing in this draft is going to help them really win. So no matter what position they take, it's not going to really help. But it would be smart to take the best available, and that would be Rob Dillingham. There's a lot of these teams that it's like, man, there's no real hope for them. So, but we'll see what happens. Next at 12, the OKC Thunder are up, and I think they would select Kel'el Ware from Indiana. He's my 8th ranked prospect, so falling to 12 would be great. Average a double-double, 16 and 10 with 2 blocks at Indiana, and he's a great 3-point shooter. So he's a very impressive big man, very athletic. I think we saw in the playoffs that Chet needed some help. As far as bigs, they did not really use Bismack Biyombo. He's not good enough at this point to help a contending team. So Kel'el Ware can come in and do that and help Chet. And, he's only 225, but that length, that skinniness is not that big of a deal nowadays because, like I said, you have Nick Claxton, Chet Holmgren, Wembanyama, but Kel'el Ware has crazy length that makes him a lob threat all over the place. He runs the floor well, and I think he can play alongside Chet because they both can shoot the ball. And, so there's a lot of people wanting to have knocks on Kel'el Ware, but if you look at the tape, those are things that he will only get stronger and better at. I have zero worries about his game. His wingspan is ridiculous. And, I think he'll fit great with OKC. They definitely need another big in there. And if it's a backup, so be it. But I think he's good enough to start alongside Chet. Next, the Kings are on the clock. I have them taking Terrence Shannon, which I mentioned earlier. Terrence Shannon is 6'6", 6'7" guard from Illinois, averaged 23 points per game and 1 steal and 1 block per game. Shot 36% from three. The only knock on him is he's a 24-year-old senior. And there's another knock on him is that he was accused of rape in his senior season. Nothing came of that as far as what I've heard. I don't know if it was dismissed or it's just went away. But obviously that scares teams away. But if you just look at the film on Terrence Shannon, he's an elite scorer, elite shooting guard. Like if you're looking for the old school Kobe Bryant, James Harden shooting guard, Terrence Shannon is what you got. Will he be able to fit that role on an NBA team where he's the number one guy? Not sure. That will depend on where he lands, but those guys normally do not work out if they are not able to be the number one guy, but I think Terrence Shannon will because he's still a great 3-point shooter and free throw shooter. And like I said, he's 24 years old, so he's ready to come in and make an impact on a good team, like I feel the Kings are, and they need to get over the hump. So he will be a good selection for them. He can hit the step back three, and he has the elite skills to be, like I said, if he had the James Harden type of leeway, he could be great. But his mission is to get to the rack. His shooting is underrated because of his athleticism. He really can jump out of the gym. He's a great spot up 3-point shooter as well, and that's always needed. And we know Malik Monk may be out of the door for the Kings, so bring in Terrence Shannon, who's an upgrade from Kevin Huerter, I feel, and that could be a sneaky good pick to help them get further in the playoffs. At 14, the Trailblazers are back on the clock. I haven't taken Tijan Salon from France, a 6'9" big man. who scored 9.5 points, 4 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal per game, 33% from 3. His name is moving up all over the place on draft boards. I don't think he's a top 10 prospect, but 14 here to Portland. Bit of a project. They're a reloading team. I talked about them earlier. I got them a 1, 2, and 3. That's to die for, with Aiden at the 5, and then you scoop Tijane Salon in there at the 4. Perfect. He could play the Michael Porter Jr. role for the Nuggets, for the Portland Trailblazers, and this team can grow together, and it'll be fun. It'll be fun. They might not win right away, but they'll be a fun team, and eventually they'll get better and better and better. And at 15, I have the Miami Heat selecting Devin Carter from Providence, the 6'3" point guard, averaged 20 points, 9 boards, 3.5 assists. Another one, like I said, with those assists, 3.5 assists. If those assists were 6.5, then I could see the Spurs probably taking them, which they still could, because Devin Carter is my 13th ranked player. I have him going 15 here to Miami. Very crafty, intelligent scorer, really good 3-point shooter. He's 21 years old, which teams hate as well, but in my opinion, it's no way he should make it out of the lottery. He does look for the open man. He can play in the post a little bit too. Good shot blocker for his size. He compares to a player in the NBA now that's a spot player, but he's 3 inches taller than him. I'm going to get to that on my comparison podcast, but just know Devin Carter should be able to come in and be a starting point guard pretty soon in the league. I'm very high on his game, and I heard he's canceling workouts already because he has a guarantee from someone. If he falls to Miami, that would be a perfect fit. Number 16, the Philadelphia 76ers. I have him taking Carlton Carrington. You may have heard him called Bub Carrington, but Carlton Carrington averaged 14 points, 5 boards, 4 assists per game at Pittsburgh. The 6'5" guard, really good shooting guard, has pro moves already at 18 as a freshman. Looks like a senior out there. So he's a very professional player, great pull-up jump shot. And I think Philadelphia can use a lock-it-in shooting guard that can grow with their team. I could easily also see them trying to go for a veteran and trading this pick. But if they can have patience with Carlton Carrington, he could be their shooting guard of the future. Next, the Lakers are going to keep their pick this year. The Pelicans did not want to take it because they feel it will be better in the years to come. And Dalton Knecht is still on the board. He's my 21st ranked player, but the Lakers will not pass him up. The 6'6" guard out of Tennessee. He's 22 years old, so that's not great for most teams, but that would be great for the Lakers because they don't want an 18-year-old coming in there. And he shot 40% from 3, so that is exactly what the Lakers are looking for as well. Now, they passed up on Jaime Jaquez last year. I don't think they'll make the same mistake this year if Dalton Knecht is there. He's a perfect college player. I worried about Jaime Jaquez translating. I worry about Dalton Knecht translating a little bit, but he should be fine. The 20 points per game is something that should be able to translate at least a little bit, because in my opinion, he was not really a special player, but he was just a really good college player. Can get his own shot, get by his man, not really fast, but crafty, but no dynamic skill necessarily except for shooting. So how would that translate to the NBA? Especially if he's on the Lakers, he's not going to be the number 1 guy. He's not going to be the number 1, number 2, probably number 3 option. So is he just going to be reserved to a spot up 3-point shooter? Then that makes his value not there. So we will see. But if the Lakers end up with Dalton Knecht, I think they will be happy with that because they at least will be getting a knockdown 3-point shooter, which they are always looking for in free agency. Number 18, the Orlando Magic on the clock. I have them taking Trey Alexander, the point guard from Creighton, 6'4", average almost 18 points per game, 6 boards, 5 assists, 34% from 3. Really good point guard, veteran point guard. He's a junior, so 21 years old, knows how to break down the defense. Orlando was missing a point guard badly last year. Markelle Fultz was never right. Jalen Suggs is more of a defender than the offensive point guard for some reason, because he was tremendous in college. But if they're looking for a point guard and Trey Alexander's on the board, I think he can come in and be an elite point guard for them very soon into his career. Great ball handler. very nice control of the ball. He's not really athletic, but I think he can lead the team. Very heady, great basketball IQ. Trey Alexander, 18, Orlando. Number 19, I have the Raptors taking Zach Edey. You heard me right. That's one of the most popular guys in the draft, Zach Edey. Have him taken for the Raptors from Purdue, 7'4". They're going to try to compete with Wemby with another 7'4" guy. 300 pounds. He doesn't look 300 pounds because he's so tall, but 25 points per game, 12 boards, 2 blocks, ridiculous. And he's a good shooter. Shot 71% from the free throw line. Now he's huge, of course. Not a stick figure. Moves and runs the court very well. And he's developed his game. He's learned some post moves, and I think the Raptors could use a big. I don't know if Pirtle is going to do anything as far as being a center good enough to help them win. So if they're going to go all out, go ahead and go all out for Zach Edey. And he's going to be an elite rim protector. People may worry about him moving his feet and defense, but I mean, he's 7'4". I think they might have said a standing reach of, 9 feet or something. I don't know, but it could be 10 feet. I think Mark Williams was near 10 feet. So Zach Edey is probably 10 feet. The wingspan is ridiculous. And he clearly could be the best rim protector in the league. I can see the Raptors going that route because Pirtle is not going to do it. It's not going to get it. Number 20, I have the Cavs on the clock. I haven't taken Ryan Dunn. And this is in preparation if Donovan Mitchell leaves. They are having a big hole at the shooting guard position. He could play the 2 or 3. Ryan Dunn, he's 6'8" from Virginia, 8.7 boards. His numbers do not stand out except for steals, 1.3, and blocks, 2 blocks per game at 6.8, 6'8" shooting guard / small forward. Now, terrible 3-point shooter, 20% from 3, but he's super athletic, high flyer, good form on his shot, so I think he can develop into a much better shooter, i.e. Herb Williams. Herb Jones, excuse me. I went old school with Herb Williams, but Herb Jones and Ryan Dunn, similar to Herb Jones as well, great defensive player. The Cavs could use that. Any team could use that. Obviously, he's an elite shot blocker for his size. His athleticism always keeps him in on the play, on defense. He can guard multiple positions. So at some point, some team is going to want to draft a Herb Jones type. Ryan Dunn could be that for the Cavs. And even if Mitchell stays, it's even better because he can play the 3 right alongside him. And I think Okoro's contract could be up. If he moves on, you can have Ryan Dunn slide in. Either way, perfect fit for the Cavs. Now to the last 10 players. We're at pick 21. The Pelicans, I haven't taken Donovan Clingan. He's my 22nd ranked player. Have him going 21 to the Pelicans. Now, this is something you're going to be a little bit surprised by because everyone's saying he's a lock for the top 8. In my opinion, he's a really good college center, big body center, traditional post player, but he's not very athletic, not very strong in the paint. He is always in the right spot, but it seems to me like he benefited because of the talent around him. He didn't really have any special skill or talent at UConn. They just had a great team. So when he's on an average team or expected to do more or score on his own, I don't know if he'll be able to flourish like people think he will be able to. He honestly stays in the paint longer than he should. He might get a lot of 3-second calls in the NBA, but I don't think he'll be as good as he was in college in the NBA. And he averaged 13.7.5 boards, 2.5 blocks. The 2.5 blocks are great, but again, he is 7'2", 282 pounds. And he's not fast, not athletic. So I don't know how that's going to translate, but New Orleans could be looking to move on from Jonas Valanciunas. And I think Clingan is similar to Ivica Zubac, but Zubac is better. So we'll see what the Pelicans do. And I don't know, good luck for all those Clingan truthers out there. It could work. Maybe if he goes to a really good team. Let's hope he does for his sake and the team's sake. Next, the Suns at 22. I have him drafting Tyler Kolek. You heard me right. Tyler Kolek, 6'3" point guard from Marquette. Averaged 15 points, 5 boards, 8 assists per game, 1.5 steals per game. Shot 39% from three. We're going to put a knock on him. He's 23 years old, 6'2", 6'3". But he's a lefty, very experienced point guard, great shooter, very smart finisher at the rim. He even finished one time in traffic against Zach Edey, the 7'4", 10-foot wingspan, whatever from Zach Edey. He made the bucket against him in the paint. But he's excellent getting to the basket. He clearly can lead a team. He's got that experience, gets those 8 assists per game. So if he's in Phoenix with Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, I mean, it's just going to make it so much easier for those guys to score. And every team is looking for a player like a TJ McConnell. He's not exactly TJ McConnell, but he is a player that will help his team win. And he works extremely hard on defense. So, and he's great at getting steals. So, a very heady player. I think it will be easy for him to transition to the NBA. And you can easily see Tyler Kolek playing 12 years in the NBA. So, he's to Phoenix. 23, the Bucks are on the clock. I have him taking Yves Missi from Baylor. And this is a steal for them because he's my 12th ranked player. I have him falling all the way to 23 to the Bucks. They need a big man. Brook Lopez can only do this so long. He's like 36 years old. Yves Missi averaged 1.5 blocks per game, 11 points, almost 6 boards. And that was in only 23 minutes per game. He's 19 years old, very long, athletic center. And I think that's what the Bucks need. No real post game where he's going to back you down or anything or shoot fadeaways, but he's always cutting to the rim and looking for offensive rebounds. So this actually would probably be a better fit if, Clingan went to Milwaukee and Yves Missi went to New Orleans. But Milwaukee may have to trade up to get a Donovan Clingan type. He probably would fit better there because Brook Lopez is a really good shooter for them. Yves Missi is going to be a good center, good rebounder. But him and Giannis on the same team, that could be tough. But he can play the Clint Capella role, and he will fit very well with Dame. You just have to worry about the Giannis factor. Next, the Knicks. They have the 24th and the 25th pick in this selection. I'll just go ahead and knock them both out. 24, it doesn't matter the order because they have them both. But 24, I have them taking DaRon Holmes. He's averaged 220. Well, he did not average 220 points per game. He's 220 pounds, 6'10", 6'11", averaged 20 points, almost 9 boards per game, and 2 blocks per game. And at 25, I have him taking Pacome Dadiet from France, the 6'8" forward, who is more of a prospect, 18 years old, who could develop for them. And they won't need right away because New York is pretty deep. But they kept having injuries with Mitchell Robinson and even Hartenstein. They could not keep a consistent center in there. They would love Hartenstein, but his contract is up. So DaRon Holmes, they can go that route. They can go Adem Bona. There's a couple other bigs coming up in the draft, but I think DaRon Holmes will be a good fit for them. He's a good shooting center. He still needs to get stronger in the paint. He passes out of doubles well. He moves his feet well on defense. Really good shot blocker and paint protector, and moves his feet well. Like I said, he gets stay with smaller defenders, and I think he'll be a good fit. They don't need centers to do much in New York, but think about Mitchell Robinson. He just runs the court, plays defense, blocks shots, gets lobs. DaRon Holmes can do that and shoot the ball, so that's a steal. Or just a great fit. Pacome Daddy, like I said, good handle of the ball, nice turnaround jump shot, pretty good shot in general. He's worth a shot right here at 25, and they can develop him, and they could use a power forward behind Julius Randle because he could be at the door. If not, you can develop Pacome until he is out of the door, and you'll have something good there. Or the 3, with OG possibly gone as well. 26, the Wizards. I have them taking Adem Bona, who I mentioned earlier. The center from UCLA, averaged 12 points, 6 boards, 2 blocks per game. He's from Nigeria, 6'10", 235 pounds. Not a three-point shooter at all. Almost 60% from the field, but he's an athletic freak. So I had the Wizards passing up on a center at number 2, going with Isaiah Collier at 26. Here they come in and get their big man from UCLA. And Adem Bona, will be a defensive stalwart. He's a huge man with a long wingspan. He can jump out of the gym, can get by his man with a jab step and score. He'll be great at offensive rebounds. His post game and offensive game still need a lot of work, but he's probably the most athletic big in the draft. And I'm glad he went back to school because he ended up getting much better and developing into a better prospect than he was last year. But if you're looking for what the Minnesota Timberwolves did this year with Rudy Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns, Adem Bona can play that Rudy Gobert role and protect the paint and be a good fit for the Wizards. 27, I have the Timberwolves taking Keyshawn George, the 6'8" point guard from Miami. I don't know how he's going to work, but this is a perfect fit for him in Minnesota because he can sit behind Mike Conley maybe a year, maybe two. And by sit behind, that doesn't just mean sit and never play. Conley can play 30 minutes. Keyshawn can play 18, and he can learn from him all season until he needs to take over the reins. He's a good spot up 3-point shooter, very slow point guard, but more methodical, very tall, obviously at 6'8". He shot 41% from three. So he's a bit of a project, like I said. He might play a little bit in the G League, but teams will love his size and shooting ability. And I would just love to see him go to where a team already has an established point guard like Mike Conley, like Chris Paul, to help him learn the ropes. And I think Keyshawn George could be good for a team. Minnesota pretty much only needs a small forward at this point. But Keyshawn George, a backup point guard, is essential as well. 28, we have the Nuggets on the clock. I have them finally, in your opinion, probably, taking Reed Sheppard. You're probably like, did this guy forget about Reed Sheppard? No. Reed Sheppard is ranked 24th in my rankings. I have him going 28 here to Denver. He's 6'1", maybe 6'2", 190 pounds. Average 12.5 points, 4 boards, 4.5 assists, and 1 block per game. 53% from the field, 52% from three. That's elite right there. You never see a player that's over 50% from three. So we know he has that in him. We know he was lights out jumping at the combine, high vertical. But it's not like he plays that way on the court. He might have had 2 dunks the whole season. But he can create his own shot. Anywhere open, he's probably going to knock it down. Great 3-point shooter. He plays and looks like a coach's kid out there. He plays the right way. Perfect form on his shot. Always gets to the right spot. The fundamentals are there, but the question is, can he play point guard? I'm not sure he can. He was a shooting guard at Kentucky, and clearly that's way undersized for a shooting guard. He's undersized for a point guard. So in my opinion, he plays a little bit like Corey Kispert, but 4 inches smaller. So that's not a lottery guy, in my opinion. Corey Kispert went 14, 15, and, he's been okay, maybe solid. And then you're getting that, but 4 inches smaller. Yeah, the shooting is there, but so was it with Corey Kispert. And it doesn't matter if you're 6'2" and you can't get the shot off. So I hope Reed Sheppard proves me wrong, but that's not a prototype that I see being successful. 29, Utah is back on the clock. I haven't taken Jacoby Walter, and at this point, it's probably just best value for them. He's my 25th ranked player, but other consensus programs have him 10 to 20. And Utah, like I said, can use a shooting guard. They drafted Stephon Castle earlier. Why not have another one? Jacoby Walter, 6'5" from Baylor, shot 34% from three, 14.5 points per game. He's 19 years old. Good 3-point shooter, good ball handler. Sometimes he's a little too fancy, too loose with the ball, trying to be too pretty with it at times. So I think he needs some good NBA coaching. So it might take a year, but then he can probably develop into a good player. He can spot up, pull up and get his own shot, get the J. He has really long range. He knows how to get contact when driving to the hoop. I just don't know if that fancy, crossover street ball type of game is something that's going to be welcomed by a lot of teams. But if you don't have to take him in the top 28, I think a team will be like, okay, we'll take him at this point. So Utah will just be developing talent. Collecting talent at this point and taking Jacoby Walter at 29. And really, they need to do something with their roster. And I've heard they're in trade talks as well. Last but not least, the 30th selection would be the Boston Celtics. I haven't taken Kyle Filipowski from Duke. He's my 33rd ranked prospect, but Boston, I could see them taking him because Al Horford is getting really long in the tooth, and their backup situation is not great with Cornette and Neemias Queta. They are not guys you can really rely on to play starter minutes. Now, Filipowski has his weaknesses and holes as well, but he's a great hustle player. Shot 35% from three, so he can definitely do the Cornette role and be better than that. But he does struggle in the paint against other bigs. He runs the floor exceptionally well. Great pick and roll player. He just needs to work on his post up game. He is always in the right position and finding ways to get open. That's going to be perfect for a Boston team. They don't need him to be Joel Embiid for the Celtics. He will be the fourth, fifth option if he's a starter, and sixth, seventh if he's not. So they just need him to do all the right things, which he knows how to do, play the right way, and finish at the rim and pull up and hit the open jump shot. So I think he would be a perfect fit for them. They would not be swinging for the fences here. They would just be getting a plug and play guy that can come off the bench or eventually maybe develop into a starter with Kyle Filipowski. So that is my mock draft, you guys. I hope you loved it. If you want me to go over 1 through 30, let's do it again. I'll just say the player. Number 1, Alex Sarr. Number 2, Isaiah Collier. Number 3, Ron Holland. Number 4, Matas Buzelis. 5, Zachary Ricochet. Hornets, Tyler Smith. Portland, Cody Williams. Spurs, Nikolai Topic. Grizzlies, Tristan Da Silva. Utah, Stephon Castle. And that was the first 10. Bulls, Rob Dillingham. Thunder, Khalil Ware. Kings, Terrence Shannon. Portland, Tajon Salon. Heat, Devin Carter. Sixers, Carlton Carrington. Lakers, Dr. Connect. Magic, Trey Alexander. Raptors, Zach Edey. Cavs, Ryan Dunn. That was 11 through 20. Pelicans, Donovan Clingan. Suns, Tyler Kolek. Bucks, Yves Missy. Knicks, Deron Holmes. Knicks again, Pacon Dadiet. Wizards, Adem Bona. T-Wolves, Keyshawn George. Nuggets, Reed Shepherd. Jazz, Jacoby Walter. And 30 would be the Celtics with Kyle Filipowski. That is your 1 through 30. First mock draft fully of the first round from the All Rookie Podcast. Follow me on Twitter at William S. Bill. Let me know your thoughts, feedback, comments, where I'm wrong, where I'm right. Like I said, this is not exactly my rankings. It's like a hodgepodge to collect the best mock draft I can come up with, you guys. I prefer doing rankings. That's more fun to me as opposed to fitting in players that would fit with the right team and who teams should take and da 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 da. But mock drafts are fun in their own way, and I love the feedback from the community on them. But like I said, subscribe to the All Rookie Podcast if you want more. I'm going to be doing a lot of shows this week with guest appearances, so that's going to be fun. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, I'm out of here. Peace.